In this video, because your essay is due, I want to go through and talk briefly about how to research in the library. Now, if you scroll down in Blackboard, there is how to research for your essay. And it is actually just click here, do this, click here. It's step by step how to research in the library databases. Um, If you decide to use a different source, I do have some guides there also. And this is how to find that citation too. EasyBib.com is what I use, and these are instructions for how to use EasyBib.com to get the source, the citation for the source that you might be using online. And the only one that I really encourage at all for you to use online is the poem itself. Remember, for this essay, you have to have 6 sources. 5 of them need to be secondary, which means people talking about the poem. One of them can be primary, which is the poem itself. So that is part of the assignment. Um, and then I have some other pointers here, things like that to help format. This is how to format. Entries need to be listed with hanging indentation. How to format your works cited page. So there is that and those instructions for you. Now, I want to show you very quickly. I know I ran through it last week in the video, but library.kilgore.edu. Again, go to databases. And my favorite ones, I always go down to literature and languages. You can use any of these, any of them, because they'll all have stuff about literature and languages. If you can't find what you need on one, try another. JSTOR is fantastic, but my favorite is literature criticism. So that's the one I'm going to go to for now. You probably have to sign in if you're off campus like I am right now. Let me in, let me in. Again, I always start by going to advanced search, and that way I can type in 2 things. So let's see, for this one, I'm going to do the charge of the Light Brigade. And this was for you guys who were a fan of Sandra Bullock or football, The Blind Side. This is the poem that was used for that. So I'm just going to search for it. I may have. There it goes. So there is a source all about Tennyson, who was the author, Alfred Lord Tennyson. Let's see. Night Siege, Tennyson and the war. He was in the war. War and theater. Tennyson and Tennyson. So some of these are going to be pretty great for this. Okay, so I'm going to go back up. Now, again, I'm writing about the charge of the Light Brigade. You can see this one, Wallace identifies crossing the bar as the poem expressing the most pathos as cites Tennyson's son during the crown of his father's efforts. So this is probably not about, actually, the charge of the Light Brigade. It's probably mentioned in here, but it may not be about the charge of the Light Brigade. However, because I'm talking about Alfred Lord Tennyson, I can use this and probably cite some of the stuff that this particular author is talking about in this particular essay. Now, what I love about these sources on the library is every time you find a source on the library, anywhere in the library, look for a button somewhere on the page that says Cite, C-I-T-E, and click on it. And guess what? You can say MLA 9th edition, or if it's not available, do 8th edition, but most of them would be 9th. And guess what? You can copy and paste that into your essay and then fix the font and you're good. That's it. That's all the information you need. You don't have to go and look up, okay, who was the author? Who was the title? Where was this published? When was it published? What volume was it in? What page number? It's all there for you. You don't have to look any of this up. It's right there available. So copy that and then paste it into your essay, fix the format, fix the font. It's perfect. right? It's all the information you need. Um, so that is what I love about the library resources, is that you can use them that way. Now, one more thing on the essay I want to note too. Remember, 5 of your sources have to be secondary. But you do have a section in your essay where you're talking about the author's biography. And so I would say that 3 of those 5 could be about your author. 3 of those 5 sources might be about Alfred Lord Tennyson as opposed to the poem I'm working with or his poetry in general. So you can have 3 biographical sources. You can have 2 that are criticism of the poem. Um, what you're looking for is people analyzing the poem the same way that you are. You're looking for people talking about maybe Tennyson's tendency to talk about the war, and you'll say, well, yes, that's absolutely true. Here's how that's present in the Charge of the Library Aid, or however you want to work on it. So, 2 sources of analysis, and then 1 poem. Okay, I also have available for you, and I want to remind you how to format your essay. That's how to set it up basically. And then MLA Works Cited and in-text citation guide is there. Use the Purdue OWL. It's a great resource for your essays. Um, it's got it. Let's say you're using. Some of you may very well have a book of poetry that you're using. Guess what? You can cite that too. So MLA Works Cited page, books. Ta-da! And it tells you what you need. And here's generally the information you're looking for. Now, easy way to do this, guess what? Get the ISBN number or the title or the author and put it in here, and then you can cite your book. Or if you want to cite something else, you can usually find it in over here in the site. You can usually find what you're doing, an electronic source. Let's say you have a website. You can cite it automatically by putting the URL here, and and it'll tell you the citation. So I love that. I also love EasyBib.com. It does the same thing. You just put it in there, and it automatically generates the citation for you. You don't have to look up the author, the title, the publication information, when it was published, what page number it's on, or what website was it. It does that automatically. So it's kind of great. Okay, that's all I'm going to talk about on the essay for now. If you have questions on the essay, please, 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 please let me know. I am more than happy to answer any questions you may have. The unit exam, I want to note the study guide is there and available for you. Has been all semester. Let's see, what else? All right, with that, I want to also pull up and talk about Halloween is right around the corner, okay? And one of my favorite poems in the world is The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. And that is because it was the first poem that I was introduced to that really got me interested in poetry at all. And the reason it was the first poem is because the first time I encountered it was on The Simpsons. So I'm going to play this for you. It's short, but it is a reading of The Raven on The Simpsons. And I tell you, it is what got me into poetry in the first place. It really genuinely is. When I was young, I would sneak. My mom didn't want me to watch The Simpsons, but I would sneak off and watch it anyway. And this was one of their Halloween specials. And since we're getting close to Halloween, why not? Let's do this. After this ad.
The Raven. Once upon a mid.
No, sorry, I paused it because I wanted to say something else too. One thing I love about this video is that Edgar Allan Poe in The Raven writes in a way that we tend to get lost. He repeats often. He says similar words. He talks about things like seraphim and I don't remember, the bust of Pallas, things that we're not really familiar with too much. But the video really does kind of demonstrate what is happening in the poem, albeit not precisely, but in a way that we can relate to. And what she is reading is very close, at least, to the original transcription. So that's another reason I really do respect what the Simpsons creators did here.
The Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary,
While I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door.
"'Tis some visitor
I muttered.
tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more."
Are we scared yet? Bard, he's establishing mood.
Ah, distinctly I remember. It was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow.
Huh?
Sorrow for the lost Lenore,
Oh, Lenore.
for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating,
"'Tis a visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This it is and nothing more."
Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer.
"Sir,
Said I,
or madam, surely your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door that I scarce was sure I heard you."
here I opened wide the door.
This better be good.
Darkness there, and nothing more.
Huh?
You know what would have been scarier than nothing? What? Anything!
Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping, something louder than before.
"Surely,
Said I,
surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore."
open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more.
"Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou,
I said,
but sure no craven, ghastly, grim, and ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the nice Plutonian shore."
quoth the raven,
Eat my shorts. Bart, stop it. He says nevermore, and that's all he'll ever say. Okay.
Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed by some unseen scent,
Stupid censor.
swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor.
Wretch,
I cried,
thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite and nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore.
quoth the raven.
Nevermore.
"Do be that word outside of parting! Burn her feet!
I shrieked up, starting,
Get thee back into the tempest and the nice Plutonian shore! No, leave no black plume as a token of the lie. Thy soul has spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door.
quoth the raven.
Nevermore.
Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door.
quoth the raven.
Nevermore.
Why, you little...
Oh,
Come back here, you little raven!
nevermore.
And the raven, ever flitting, still is sitting upon the pallid-busted palace just above my chamber door, and his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor, and my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.
Lisa,
Okay. So, I mean, I think it's fun. I kind of love it. Again, I mean, The Raven is just such a timeless tale. And it's not because, I mean, it is creepy, but it's more sad than anything. We have this man and his wife or love, his true love, Lenore, has just died. And he's kind of just getting creeped out the longer he sits there and thinks about her and he hears things. And eventually, I mean, you can see it that by the end, he starts to kind of lose his mind. So this is, I mean, it's creepy in the best possible way, I think. I want to play one more video about this. And again, I'm going to do thug notes. Again, I want to remind you that this guy is he's so smart and he says some wonderful smart things, but at the same time he has some pretty colorful language. So if you have young ears in the room, you may want to pause it or put on your headphones or wait till later. But I do want to play this because I think it helps us to understand, and I love the way he talks specifically about the Raven in the analysis, and he kind of points out a few things that maybe we didn't think about. So I'm going to let it play. Again, after a word from our sponsors.
Hi, I'm Nicole Hockley from Sandy Hook Promise. I know this is hard to hear, but it's important.
Hey, what's up, my well-read ballers? It's 2015, Thug Notes is back, and this week we getting lonesome with The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe.
Still good though.
It's a balls cold December night in the hood, where our narrator doing what all real gangsters do when they trying to get their mind off of lost honey love. Crack open a book, holla, play about to pass out when he hear a ruckus at the door, and then he starts wigging. He check it, nothing. Then homeboy hear an even louder tapping and open his window when a raven flies his black ass in the crib and poses up like he owns the damn place. Since he ain't got nobody else to talk to, the narrator say, "Bird, what's your name?" All the raven gotta say is nevermore. Oh shit, this fool talks? Talk or not, the narrator don't really give no f***s. There've been other feathery bird brothers up in the digs before, and all just ended up leaving. When the raven hear that, he just say, nevermore. The hell? Then our boys start thinking, maybe God trying to help me forget Lenore and get them thoughts of her sweet loving out of my dome. Nevermore, this motherfucker. Then the narrator like, okay, real talk. Am I gonna get to chill with my girl in heaven after I die? Don't say it. Nevermore. Motherfucker, get the hell out of here. Shoot. But the bird just stonewalling him. So the narrator throws in a towel and accepts everything is so damn jacked up that he ain't never gonna be happy no more. Damn. Dealing with the death of a backwind biddy is sure as hell one depressing topic. On the real though, that's just what Poe was going for. In the philosophy of composition, Poe pretty much say the entire reason he wrote this poem was to depress the shit out of people. Thanks, Poe. It worked. He even break it down for us. So how can a brother make somebody sad as hell? Step one, talk about death. But that ain't enough. A player gotta make sure that everyone can relate to that pain. And what's the saddest thing a brother can lose? You got it, son. Some of that ooh-wee. So bam, Poe mix it all together and tell us his recipe for the most melancholy juice you can ever sip on. The death of a beautiful woman. Peep these references, player play. That raven can be referencing a couple of different mythological traditions. In Norse myth, Odin got two ravens rolling in his posse named Hugin and Munin, thought and memory. These little thuggies flew around and gave Odin the DL on what was going down in the hood. In The Raven, the narrator's bird hooking him up with some info too, just not the good kind. Our boy having to do his best to forget about Lenore, But all that punk-ass Raven do is fill his head up with thoughts and memories of that honey. Damn. Now for my Greek homies, ravens were associated with prophecy and the god Apollo. Maybe that's why the raven's described as ominous, because he's related to omens and hinting that some gnarly about to go down. Speaking of the future, Poe bitch slapping us with the raven saying nevermore over and over. Thing is, our narrator started off saying the exact opposite, forevermore. But by the end, he and that funky bird dropping the same beat, saying that his soul gonna be lifted nevermore. To this thug, that's emphasizing the connection between the raven and the narrator. They just gonna sit they sad, lonely asses at home saying the same thing over and over again. Don't think it's a coincidence, too, that nevermore rhyme with Lenore, yo. See y'all next week, my well-read ballers. Sparky Sweets out. Peace.
Okay. So I know that the language is colorful, but I do think I do think he makes some great points that help us to understand a little better. Now, before I get off of this particular poem, I want to point out, as you heard it being read, even by The Simpsons, you could probably hear a beat. If you didn't, go back and watch the video again on your own. But there was a beat, and I mean it's almost musical at one point. And I love that. And if you actually, I mean, I'm not going to play it, but if you go back to YouTube and you look up Stevie Nicks, she sings Annabel Lee, which is an Edgar Allan Poe poem, but she also sings a version of The Raven. Perhaps it's not on here anymore. I think it was one of the first pop-ups, but I guess it's gone. Let's see. So it's been adapted to music several times over. You can see musical adaptation. There's a few others that have been done, but it just really is musical. And that is because of the beat. It is iambic, which means it goes up and down and up and down. Once upon a midnight dreary, why not pondered weekend weary? I mean, that's not how it's read, but it could be. It's got the beat. So that is, and you can actually play music along with it. I actually heard one hypothesis that I believe it's the theme song for Avatar: The Last Airbender, that you can actually read almost any Edgar Allan Poe poem to that beat and it will work perfectly. I'm not entirely sure that's the right song, but interesting nonetheless. But it has this lovely beat. It's iambic. It's let's see, once upon a midnight. So yeah, it's not pentameter, it's hexameter. Yeah. I believe it's hexameter. So it's iambic hexameter, I believe. And one thing, when you're working with your poems, I want to point this out. To get the beat, what is the meter of the Raven, right? Or what is the meter of my poem? Go ahead and look it up. Why not? It says it's trochaic octameter, which means it has 8 pairs of syllables, and it's trochees, which makes sense to me. Okay, so I thought it was iambic. It's not. Okay. Always double check yourself. Go back and look it up, check it out, see what you find. Don't be afraid to Google things just to look them up and get an idea and an understanding. Again, Shmoop is one of my favorite websites because it gives us, I mean, you can go to it and read about it. It gives wonderful analysis of the Raven that helps you to understand it. And again, look, it goes through the poem, the introduction, analysis, sound check, what's up with the title, what's the setting, the speaker, how tough is this, the calling card, symbols and imagery. shout out sex rating. It's got tons of stuff in here that's talking about it. Don't be afraid to look it up, to analyze and understand it. And then after you realize and get a better handle on what the poem is and what it's talking about, what's happening in the poem, then start your research. Okay? This is not research though. This is for understanding. Schmoop, Cliff Notes, all those websites that we love to use, those are not research. Those are for understanding. So keep that in mind as you go about working on your essays. Again, if you have questions, if you have concerns, please feel free to let me know. I'm happy to answer anything I can. And good luck. With that, I'm going to end this video, and I will see you guys again on the next video in Unit 3, where we'll be starting working on Hamlet.